Hello, my lovely souls. How have you been? I hope you've all been taking good care of yourselves. Welcome back to another tarot love reading. And dear, this one is going to be different. Really different. I don't think I've done a reading quite like this before, so deeply. I want to tell you up front, this is one of the more intimate readings I've done in a while, and it caught me a little off guard when it came through. It's about your future spouse, but not the version of them you already know. This is about a moment you haven't seen yet, a moment where something in them finally cracks open in front of you. I'm Emma, and I almost didn't sit down to record this today because it felt like it was going to ask more of me as a reader than usual, but something told me not to skip it. So here we are. We're looking specifically at what happens the very first time real, deep jealousy shows up in your future spouse. Not the ugly, controlling kind, the kind that comes from loving you so much they don't fully know what to do with it. Stay with me through this one because it builds slowly, and every part of it matters. Let's get into it. They're going to get jealous, and it won't be subtle. There's a moment coming where someone else's attention lands on you, and your future spouse feels it immediately. Maybe it's at an event, a gathering, somewhere you're simply being yourself and someone else notices. A compliment, a lingering glance, nothing scandalous, just enough for it to register. And in that moment, something shifts in them that they can't fully hide, even if they're trying hard to. This isn't about them not trusting you. It's the opposite, actually. It's them realizing, all at once, how much you actually mean to them, and how little control they have over the fact that other people notice you too. There's real intensity in this energy, the kind that doesn't announce itself loudly in public, but sits there, quietly burning underneath a calm exterior, until you're finally alone together and it has room to surface. In the moment itself, they're going to hold it together outwardly. They're not going to make a scene, not going to say something harsh in front of other people, not going to embarrass you. But you'll feel it. A stillness in how they're standing near you. A hand finding its way to your back or your waist a little more firmly than usual. Small things that tell you something's shifted, even before either of you says a word about it. Maybe their laugh gets a little quieter. Maybe they check where you are in the room more than usual, without quite realizing they're doing it. I also want to add something here because I think it matters. This reaction isn't really about the other person who caught their attention toward you. It's about your future spouse suddenly, sharply, being reminded that you're desired, wanted, seen by the world, and having to sit with the reality that they don't get to control any of that. That's a genuinely vulnerable place for someone to be standing in, even if outwardly it looks like simple jealousy. Their silence is them holding something back. On the way home, or in the quiet stretch right after, there's a good chance they go quiet. Not cold, not distant in a punishing way, just processing, turning something over internally that they don't quite have words for yet. This is someone who feels things deeply. And when those feelings get big, words are sometimes the last thing that come easily to them, even though they're usually fairly expressive otherwise. That silence might actually worry you a little, wondering if you did something wrong, replaying the evening in your head, trying to find the moment you upset them. You didn't. What's happening internally is closer to them working through their own emotions. The jealousy, yes, but underneath that, real vulnerability. A quiet fear of ever losing what they have with you. A fear they probably don't examine very often, because life is usually too busy or too comfortable for it to surface. When they finally do speak, it won't be an accusation. It'll be something closer to an admission. Something like, I don't know why I react like this, or watching that happen just did something to me. That honesty is actually the whole point of this moment. It's them letting you see a side of themselves they don't show easily. The part that genuinely can't imagine you not being there. The part that gets scared, even when logically they know there's nothing to actually be afraid of. There's something tender in that too, if you can see past the initial discomfort of the silence itself. Someone going quiet because they're overwhelmed by how much they love you is a very different thing from someone going quiet to punish you. And learning to tell the difference between those two things is part of what makes a relationship like this one work long term. They'll pull you close, not push you away. Here's something important to understand about how this plays out. Jealousy like this doesn't push people apart in a healthy, secure relationship. It tends to pull them closer instead, almost like a reflex. Once you're finally alone together, whatever tension built up during the day softens into something much gentler than what the silence might have suggested. There's a real tenderness underneath the intensity here. A hand reaching for your face, foreheads resting together. That specific kind of closeness where nothing needs to be said yet because you're both just breathing the same air for a second, letting the day settle between you. This isn't about anger being taken out on you. It's about someone needing physical closeness to actually believe in their body and not just their head that you're still there, still theirs, still choosing them the way you always have. For some of you, this might come with real, quiet affection first. A long hug, your head resting against their chest, their hand slowly moving through your hair, while neither of you says much of anything. The intensity of the day gets processed through closeness, not distance. That's actually a really healthy sign in a partner. Someone who moves toward you when they're overwhelmed, instead of shutting you out or turning cold for days at a time. I also want to gently point out, this pattern, closeness over distance, is something you'll come to rely on as a kind of emotional signature of theirs. Once you recognize it, moments like this stop feeling scary or confusing and start feeling like just another way this particular person shows you they love you, even when their words haven't caught up yet. Their words will say what they can't hold in. At some point, the words come. And I think you'll be surprised by how open they are in this specific moment. More open than usual, because the emotional wall they normally keep up has genuinely cracked a little under the weight of everything they've been feeling. They might tell you things like, "I don't know why I get like this," or "I just don't want anyone else looking at you the way I look at you." There's real possessiveness in a phrase like that. But I want to be clear, healthy possessiveness, the kind rooted in genuine devotion rather than control. It's less about owning you and more about them being stunned over and over by how much they actually love you. Almost like they're relearning it in real time. This is also likely to be a moment where they tell you something they don't say often. How attractive they still find you. How much they notice you even after all this time together. How the thought of losing you genuinely unsettles them in a way they rarely admit out loud. For some of you, this reading is showing a partner who isn't naturally talkative about feelings day to day. And this jealousy becomes an unexpected doorway into real emotional honesty you don't usually get from them otherwise. There's something worth treasuring in that, even though the circumstances that bring it out might feel uncomfortable in the moment. Some people only fully open up emotionally when something forces the wall down for a minute. And if that's your future spouse, these moments become rare glimpses into a depth of feeling they don't usually let show. Afterward, they'll admit what this was really about. Once the moment passes, and it will pass, there's a real conversation waiting on the other side of it. Your future spouse is likely to circle back, sometimes the same night, sometimes the next day once things have settled, and actually name what happened. "I shouldn't have gone quiet like that. I know it wasn't fair to make you feel like you did something wrong. There's real accountability in this energy, not defensiveness, not blame shifting. They're not going to expect you to pretend it didn't happen, and they're also not going to blame you for someone else's attention, which, honestly, was never within your control in the first place, and they know that, even if it didn't feel that way in the heat of the moment. What you're more likely to hear is something closer to, "I just love you more than I know how to handle sometimes," and that surprised even me. And for a lot of you, this becomes something you can actually laugh about together afterward, not dismissively, but with real understanding and even a little warmth. You'll come to know this about them, that jealousy shows up in them as intensity and quiet, not as cruelty or control. Once you understand that pattern, it stops being confusing and starts being just another part of how they love you, one more piece of the map of who they are underneath the surface. This kind of follow-up conversation matters more than people usually realize. It's not the jealousy itself that determines whether a relationship is healthy, it's what happens afterward, whether there's ownership, honesty, and repair. Everything in this reading points toward exactly that. This deepens your bond, not breaks it. Here's what I really want you to take from this reading. This kind of moment, uncomfortable as it might feel in the middle of it, tends to deepen a relationship rather than damage it, when it's handled with honesty on both sides the way we've just walked through. You'll learn things about each other through it, how you each need to be reassured, how you each process big emotions, what actually helps versus what makes things worse in a heated moment. There's real long-term partnership energy running through this whole reading, someone who's deeply loyal, who prioritizes home and family, who becomes more present rather than more distant as your bond grows over time. The jealousy you saw in this one moment isn't the full picture of who they are. It's one small human crack in someone who otherwise shows up for you consistently, day after day, in far less dramatic ways that are just as meaningful. And honestly, that's often how real intimacy grows. Not through everything being calm and easy all the time, but through moments like this being met with honesty, reassurance, and real care on both sides. This is someone who's going to keep choosing you, again and again, in big moments and small ones. And this reading is showing you just how deeply that choosing runs in them, even in the parts of themselves they don't always know how to show. I want to leave you with this. Nobody gets a partner who never feels a flicker of jealousy, ever. That's not really what secure love looks like. What matters is what they do with that feeling, whether it turns into control or whether it turns into exactly what we just walked through together: honesty, closeness, and repair. Everything here points to the second one for you. So that's your reading today, and honestly, it stayed with me a little longer than most readings do. Whatever landed for you in this one, sit with it for a moment before you scroll on to whatever's next. I hope this gave you a real, tender look into what this kind of love can actually feel like, underneath the intensity, underneath the quiet moments, all the way down to what it actually means. If this resonated with you, drop a comment below and let me know. I genuinely read every single one, even the short ones. Like this video if you felt something while watching it. Subscribe if you're new here so you don't miss the next one, and I will see you very soon in the next reading. Sending you so much love today. Bye!